Welcome, everybody. Before I get burnt at the stake for changing Whimsicott's typing, I'm going to quickly address it before I even talk about anything else regarding these awesome buffs and changes, because they are awesome, but I cannot address anything else before I address the typing. Number one reason I changed it, Lilligant is Grass Fairy, and Lilligant, the only dual typing that fits Lilligant is Grass Fairy. Any other typing is stupid. Bug is stupid. Psychic is I said Psychic. Psychic is stupid. Okay, no other dual typing fits Lilligant. So that's number one. Number two, Grass Flying fits Whimsicott very, very well. In fact, it's extremely odd to me that they didn't make it Grass Flying in Gen 5 when it first released. Retyping it to Fairy is one thing, but I don't know why it was ever pure Grass. It's literally called the Wind-Veiled Pokemon, and it flies around, and it says, like the wind, it can slip through any gap, and they appear along whirlwinds, they ride along whirlwinds, blah, blah, blah. So that's all from the Pokedex, and obviously looking at it, it's a cotton Pokemon. Like, it's the same as Jumpluff in terms of, like, logic for being a flying type. And Grass Flying, while it does have, oh my god, 4 times weakness, first of all, so does Grass Poison. Second of all, Grass Fairy, excuse me, so does Grass Fairy. And also, Grass Fairy is actually still weak to Bug. It is actually weak to Bug now in this hack. So Grass Flying is not weak to Bug, which is nice because you can tank first impressions really well with Fluffy. But I'll get into that in a second because, like I said, Whimsicott has some awesome, awesome buffs. And if you adore the Fairy type Whimsicott, I'm sorry, you're going to have to take the L on this one. Lilligant is a much more deserving candidate for the Grass Fairy typing, and I did not want both of them to be Grass Fairy. That feels really fucking dumb, in my opinion. And it's just not really like it just makes them feel like the same. I mean, even though they had very different abilities and stuff, and different stat distribution, it would just feel ugly to me. I don't like the idea of them both being Grass Fairy. And I don't have anything against pure grass for Lilligant. Logically, if you want to be super, super real, yeah, that's the only type that fits. It's a little flower lady thing. But Fairy fits really nicely with their design and stuff as well, and their lore and stuff. But it's not like I'm changing every pure type Pokemon to be dual typed. That's not something I'm doing. A lot of pure type Pokemon are dual type, but not all. There's tons of pure type Pokemon. Another difficult thing is that I have to actually balance all the pure type Pokemon with one another. So the more pure type Pokemon there are, the more I have to make them stand out from one another. So yeah, that's another reason I changed Lilligant's typing, which I'll get into in the next video, which is going to be released right after this one, so you can check that out. Of course, you can also just look at the Google Sheets for yourself. This is a good transition. Sorry if you're new here, by the way. I don't normally start my videos off like that, but I figure this will be a controversial type change because I know people love Whimsicott, and they're going to be like, no, my Fairy type, no, and they're going to like have an aneurysm because I changed it. Sorry, man, or not man, but sorry, whoever is upset about that. It is what it is. This is definitely much better overall, but for both of them, not to mention Whimsicott has some awesome buffs to quote-unquote make up for it. Not that Grass Flying is a bad typing, because it's not. Offensively, it's a good dual stab combo, and then defensively, it has a lot of useful resistances. So, for example, if I go to like Jumpluff or something, you can look at the resistances. 4 times to grass, immunity to ground, resistant to water and fighting. That's really solid. Obviously, Grass Fairy is still resistant to those types, but it's just a nice little combo. It's definitely not a bad type combo by any means. And another good thing that is worth mentioning in this hack is that Grass Fairy is actually weak to Bug now, because Bug is neutral on Fairy. So Whimsicott would actually be weak to Bug as a Grass Fairy type. So Grass Fairy is kind of not that great defensive typing in this hack. Not that it's bad, but you're weak to Bug and Poison and all that sort of stuff. So and First Impression is a very common move. So not that being weak to that makes you a bad Pokemon or anything, but it wouldn't be optimal for like pranks or such, especially. But Fluffy is great. Fluffy, I mean, now you're neutral to First Impression, first of all, and Fluffy is beautiful. So I'm going to talk about the buffs and changes now. But lastly, as a little disclaimer, if you are new here and you happen to click on this video, number one, my videos aren't usually like this. Number two, definitely make sure you check out the description below. There is a link to the Google Sheet that I screen share in all my videos, including this one, and you can check out and examine all of the in-depth buffs and changes. Most importantly, on this bottom tab here, you can see there's a search all moves here guide. I'm not going to open it up because it might lag a little bit while I'm recording, but I list out every single move, buff, and change. Every move is buffed or changed, so you should definitely give those a look because those are really important in terms of how they interact with how the Pokemon function now. Those are super, super important. But yeah, with that being said, Whimsicott. Fluffy and Prankster, great abilities. Stat-wise, a lot stronger, a lot bulkier on the special side, and then of course, with 85 base defense and Fluffy, Whimsicott, when it takes physical contact moves, is absolutely behemoth, even with 0 bulk investment. So I'm gonna put it into perspective right now. With 0 bulk investment, you are at 412 defense is what you hit, which is equivalent to God knows how much. It's a lot. 412, right? So it's gonna be like, oh my god, hold on, to sneeze. Oh boy. Damn. Sorry about that. 412, 412. 170. Your defense is roughly 170 uninvested, completely uninvested. Well, is that the only time that? Holy shit. Doubling the base defense actually worked in this case. Usually that never works. For example, if you have like a huge power Pokemon, like for example, Azumarill, 50 base attack, its attack stat is roughly equal to 149 base attack, not 100. But right now, its defense is roughly equal to 170. But that's with no investment. That's why. There's no investment there. That's why. So yeah, uninvested, your defense is equal to base 170 with no investment. And that's with zero investment, okay? So once you slap in EVs in there, you max out at 269. 269 times 2. Hold on. 590 defense. That is absurd. It is extremely tanky, okay? You're at like 220 base defense at that point, which is behemoth. That's huge. So yeah, 170 to 220 base defense, roughly, depending on your investment. Again, zero investment with 170 base defense is still awesome. And then you can run max speed or max HP and max speed, like max HP, max speed with Fluffy. Great, beautiful, fast, offensive utility Pokemon. It's really awesome. Really, it's so useful. Fluffy is huge. Keep in mind that not only does Fluffy give you a 4 times weakness to fire, though, which is, you know, something to keep in mind, it also only works on contact moves. So, for example, all kinds of physical moves are on contact, stuff like Ice Shard, Icicle Crash. There's a billion others, but those are just the two that came to mind. But there's a bunch of them. Gunk Shot, Poison Dart, you know, a lot of poison and ice moves especially are not contact, despite being physical. So you have to keep that in mind, you know, when you're using it. But in general, the majority, of course, of the majority of physical moves are contact. So in general, your defense is doubled. It's an incredible defensive ability. And if that fire weakness is a hindrance for you in that certain boss fight, say you need to switch your Whimsicott in, and the 2 times versus 4 times makes a difference between living or dying to the hit, then you just swap off Fluffy, because in this ROM hack you have access to infinite usability capsules, so you easily can swap on Prankster whenever you need it. Prankster is really nice because you don't need to run speed investment, so you can run, you know, max HP, max Pedef, or max HP, max defense with Prankster, and you have all kinds of great utility moves. We all know what Whimsicott does with Prankster, okay? You got the sub seed bullshit, you know, sub leech seed, with the buffed Big Root as well, Big Root doubling healing. I might have to nerf that in the second release of the game, but for now I'll keep it at double. It should be fun. That's awesome. You know, you got bullshit like that. You have Prankster Strength Sap, Prankster Grass Whistle. Sleep in general is a lot more consistent. It always lasts for 2 turns. Which can be really nice to get off a free nasty plot. If you do use Prankster Grass Whistle, that first turn does count as 1 turn, so you have 1 free turn on the second turn, and then a wake up on that 3rd turn, so keep that in mind. But yeah, 1 free nasty plot is nice. You're also, again, very fast, and you have a respectable 97 base special attack stat. That's pretty good. So you can use offensive sets with, you know, your grass and your strong, very strong grass and flying moves that you have access to, and then you have coverage like Earth Power, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, and Psychic, and Dazzling Gleam, and also, you know, niche stuff like Weather Ball and all this other fun stuff that you can take advantage of. But in general, all you need is your dual stab plus those coverage moves, really, for offensive sets. And then, of course, utility is beautiful. You know, you got Leech Seed, Encore, Strength Sap, Sweet Scent drops at special attack and special defense by 1 now. Charm, Befriend being special charm. I already covered Aeroblast. Prankster Cotton Guard, Prankster Strength Sap is one of the best options you have as a whole. Prankster Parting Shot, Prankster Taunt, Prankster Reflect and Light Screen. It's got everything it could ever want, okay? I mean, even just dual screens plus Parting Shot is great. Great utility Pokemon, really beautiful utility Pokemon, and it can be offensive as well. That speed tier is super nice, 116. You outspeed a lot of stuff. Even with no investment, you're pretty quick, but obviously when you put in that investment, because of your abilities, you don't need investment with Prankster and speed, and then with Fluffy, you don't need defense investment, so you kind of can tailor your EV spreads because you do have access to infinite EV training in this hack as well, so you could definitely take advantage of that. But yeah, that's really about it. It's just a fucking great Pokemon. Great utility, fast, strong-ish. Yep, just an awesome, supportive, bulky as hell Pokemon. The only other grass flying types that I have to keep in mind when balancing Whimsicott was Jumpluff and Shaman Sky, which is now a Mega, and Shaman Sky is purely offensive for the most part, so that isn't really too much of an issue, you know, with Aerolite and Searing Grace, while Jumpluff was actually an issue. Jumpluff has better HP, and then similar defenses, but it has 125 base speed and similar special attack as well. but it is almost 10 points faster. And you have Regenerator and Guarding Gale on Jumpluff. So Jumpluff is no longer weak to the things that it is, Guarding Gale is Delta Stream. So that's really great. You can go check out that Jumpluff video if you're curious on those buffs and changes. Or I implore you to honestly just check out the Google Sheet in the description below and look at all the Pokemon that you want, and look at all the move buffs and all that fun stuff, and all the other useful Google Sheets at the bottom of this sheet here. You can see there's a bunch of other links there. But yeah, that's really about it. As for how Whimsicott and Jumpluff compare to one another, Jumpluff is faster, has different abilities. Regen is obviously incredible. Fluffy makes Whimsicott bulkier overall, but Prankster, Whimsicott is not as bulky as Jumpluff because of the HP. And also Jumpluff is naturally a lot faster, so you could argue offensive Jumpluff is a lot better because of that. But I mean, in general, they're both very good. So yeah, they are very similar, supportive, fast, utility, grass flying types, but they are still different because of their abilities. Jumpluff has stuff like Regenerator, Parting Shell, all those other fun stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back for Lilligant coming up super soon. So stay tuned for that one. And yeah, thanks for listening. Bye, everybody. Lastly, make sure you subscribe. Definitely be subscribed. If you listen this far to the video, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully I'm at 1K by the time you're listening to this, but I'm very close as far as I can tell. So yeah, bye, everybody.